Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Didn't want any trade secrets that could
I know. Just want to make sure we're
put
catching.
out there. I'll put out there. Okay, so Bob's Matrix. What you guys met there? I'm assuming. Oh, you didn't?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. But you're both mentors of Bob, just at a different time. Okay. So how long has a book been in your brain, and how long has it taken to write? I'm curious.
We started, the two of us started last fall, like September-ish, with the idea. I don't think we started writing until like November-ish. And then we finished around May-ish,
Wow.
June-ish. Right? Does that sound right?
That's
The initial idea was much different, and then it morphed into this. So,
okay. Like it. So Paul, I found you on Twitter, private account.
Oh, well, I'm not active on social media.
I found the two of you a little bit on. I'm just going to share my screen a wee bit, just to give you some landscape of where we need to go. Okay, so I found you, Kim. I found Paul. So basically, what we need to start to do to begin with is get people to know you two and fall in love with you. And when J.K. Rowling doesn't have her own Instagram account, but 29,000 people just follow photographs of her, we know there's a lot of detail out there that we can start to put together. And our first step is to get. This is your Twitter account, but it's locked down, so not sure if you used it or not. But that's pretty much. And then I was looking for you, Paul, online, and I did find a couple of very cute pictures of you here at the dealership, and then over here when you were at the hospital. But typically, you guys are almost, I wouldn't say you're anonymous on social media, but we gotta up the game. We gotta find the stories. We gotta find the motivation of why you put this book together. Kim, your hardships, in comparison to Paul's, I mean, I don't know what the right word to say, but probably not as hard a life as Kim, when you were brought up, sort of from a land of plenty. But both of these elements come to the fact that you understand, suffering and pleasure, and pain and purpose. And whether people come to this book and they just enjoy the book, or whether they come to this book and they feel empowered, a lot of that, I believe, is going to come out of the personal stories of who you are as authors. So whatever's on that back cover of the book of the two of you is key for me to start momentum, because as much as I want to promote the book and Gifted and the Mind Ventures and so on, we still got to fall in love with the author first, or authors, and then some pictures of you, some background of you, some story of you, so that we can at least, because it's only one book, so we don't want a Facebook page of just one book. The Facebook page, I mean, there will be a specific product page, but I think the Facebook page needs to be about the two of you, and then we'll focus very much on the book going forward. Does that sound what you were thinking? Or does that freak you out? Or is like, are you kidding?
That is absolutely not what we were thinking.
Okay. I was kind of reading your faces, and it's like.
But here's the thing: if you tell us that that's what we need to do, then we'll adapt. So I think what we need is we need to kind of hear strategy behind that, and why, and how it all plays in. Because you can. I removed myself from social media 4.5 years ago. So that was a conscious decision. Now, I understand the importance of social media in marketing, and if I need to get on and I need to do stuff, I'm willing to do that because of what I want to accomplish.
Yeah.
But I think if you explain it to us in context and overall strategy, give us the 360 view, and if you can help us, like, if you just say, oh, we need stories about you. Well, what in the world? I'm me, I'm no one special. I'm
oh,
me.
You're kidding. There will be so many stories.
You're going to have to direct us to help us.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
right, Kim?
Yeah, we do know you know, from you know, speaking with Peggy McCall, who is a New York Times bestselling author, and she's written 10 or 12 books, and the key to selling a book is that people have to like you. They have to know you and like you as an author. And I find us both very likable.
Me too. That's why we're here.
So I don't see that as a problem. I will tell you that for me, this will take a mental adjustment. I would not make a good celebrity because I am intensely private.
That's totally, celebrity is not what I'm talking. I'm just.
Well,
people need to like you. I would disagree. People need to fall in love with you.
Okay.
Not sexually or anything like that, but they really have to believe in what it is that you've created. And the word "like" is so overused in social media now. In that sort of, people always talk about people that want to do business who they know, like, and trust.
Yes.
I always say, actually, no. People do business with people who they know, love, and trust, because the love is two-faceted. One is that you really love what you do, and that energy comes out because people get the passion of what you're believing in. And second, and then they fall back in love with you because you're so into what it is that you do. So it's not a logo, it's not a book cover they fall in love with, it's the authors. And then it's the characters. But we haven't got the book to tell them about the characters just yet. So we've got to start somewhere. But James and all the other people will have graphics. There may even be human, memes of these people over time. I mean, Harry and Hermione changed so much in the course of 6 books. I mean, from like 8 years old to 16 or whatever they were. And there'll be a progression through that too. The spyglass and all the other artifacts that these people will have for their gifted tool, if you like. We're going to be able to paint pictures all around all of those pieces too. I'm assuming there's graphics in the book of what's going on, right?
Yeah.
There's illustrations, yes.
Yeah. That's going to be key to people sort of, it's almost like Christmas dinner. You can taste turkey and cranberry sauce and dressing. I mean, you can taste it. As soon as someone says Christmas dinner or ham, whatever it might be in your family, or nut roast, or not assuming everybody's not vegan or anything, but your brain knows what it's going to taste like. And we want people to get this anticipation for, like, when this book comes out, they're going to be lining up like the Apple people to sort of buy the iPhone X. I mean, I don't know if you know Michael Ovitz. I heard him, he's like the biggest publisher and freelance marketing person in Hollywood and has been for the last 30 years. He had the Coca-Cola account. He did the Polar Bears. He also put together the script and the team of Schindler's List and Rain Man and any other major film that you could think of. He swapped Scorsese and Spielberg between Cape Fear and Schindler's List. He went, "You guys are directing the wrong films. I'm moving you," And this book is full of these stories. The guy's a multi-millionaire. My daughter has a friend who captains his yacht. But the stories in this book, and yet he is one of the most quiet, humble, non-personality driven kind of people that you would meet. But man, Schindler's List, Dances with Wolves, Goodfellas, Gangs of New York, Gandhi, Groundhog Day, Out of Africa, Rain Man, Jurassic Park, just a few. But nobody knows who he is. But his story is phenomenal, and I've loved his book. So I've got books everywhere on my desk because I'm at home, but this is one of my favorite books. It's called They Ask You Answer. A really good friend of mine, his name is Marcus Sheridan, lives in Virginia. He's a former LDS missionary in Mexico, and came back and started a swimming pool company. And he sells fiberglass swimming pools. He's now one of the key speakers in the world around content marketing. Great friend of mine, hates social media with a passion, never wants to be on film, but he has a great story. So we get that. But at the same time, the great stories is what we'll find. We'll spend time on Zoom. I'll find them. We'll record them. We'll bring them out. You bring me.
So I have a question. I wanted to know, Kim, you spoke briefly about your YouTube video strategy so the whole, one of your guys' thoughts or brainstorm was about creating these archetypes in these characters and then having people, especially on social media, fall in love with them. Right? as we get further into, you know, if we are working together, you're giving us a non, you know, we're signing a non-comp or an ND, et cetera. But
yeah,
but you're also like, we're able to share that message with the world, aren't we? Like, you're going to give us, you know, you'd give us permission to do that. So we're also creating, or Jonathan, I don't know if you want to talk to that, but what was the YouTube, like, what was your initial idea, Paul, for you know, starting this? What was your initial strategy thoughts?
Well, the initial idea was that we choose 6 human beings to represent our 6 main characters. And because we understand the importance of social media, and we understand engagement and how people need to be engaged. And so the idea was, if we can engage people and get them excited and get to feel like they know these characters before the book even comes out, then we're just fast tracking that.
Right.
And so really that's the idea. So the idea is, maybe one of the characters, you know, the girl, Katie, she's into shopping, she's into fashion. And so, you know, each one has their own traits and personality characteristics that people can identify with. So
like the new Jumanji, did you see it?
No.
Okay, well, that's what
okay, so which one is I've got a second name now. Which one's Katie?
Yeah, so Katie's one of them. And so it's like, you know, get someone who can maybe do a live stream or something, or can answer questions and maybe talk a little bit about who Katie is and get a buzz. We don't know how, it's just an idea. So if we go with you, we gladly turn this idea over and say, this is an idea. Is it worthwhile? Does it work? What can we do with it?
Yes.
You know, we think we've got a couple people that will represent some of these characters that are very likable and lovable, you know, but yeah, that's it's just an idea. Where Peggy McCall had us focusing, so just to kind of familiarize you, Peggy says that it's all about you're getting the email address, you know, and so but where Peggy's program lacks is in the social media area. Peggy did everything without social media, so she hasn't really gone there. We know that there's a power in social media, and we want to combine both.
Yes, definitely.
You know, so we don't want to limit.
For sure, they want the email so they can click on the Amazon link, get straight to Kindle, or that book and have it prime shipped or whatever. Absolutely, and that's where the sale will happen.
Exactly.
But the buzz will be across Facebook and Instagram.
Exactly.
We have a younger audience, which I think we will. Snapchat as well, for sure.
Absolutely.
Right.
But the videos is where we'll house the characters, develop the characters. Is there any footage of you two working together and writing together? Any pictures, anything like that? Or could we simulate some? I don't know how close you live to each other.
We could do that in January. In January, we'll be together.
Perfect. So, I mean, I remember when J.K. Rowling was writing the last book, and it was a whole documentary about her in this hotel in Glasgow with her cup of tea on a beautiful cup and saucer and her laptop, and then she went, "That's it, I finished."
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but it's done. You know, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh."
They should have been with us when we sat in the airport looking at the tarmac, eating cheese and crackers and doing the edits.
In the Delta Crown room, yes.
Pictures. You guys need to start doing those pictures of yourselves.
Even if we're not sharing it live, the more pictures that we can get of the development of the story, the illustrator, whoever the illustrator is who's doing that, getting some sort of rough sketches of you remember the Mickey Mouse sort of variables that came before Mortimer became Mickey, and all the different pieces that came out of that.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff people will love.
I already had a quick like idea of like contests for people that are starting to like see these characters, and you're putting on a contest because you're casting or something like that, to be like, you know, and it draws that attention of not like in a Hollywood casting, but just like, you know, some sort of a contest to drive traffic or to get people interested in, you know, who do you identify with or what character it is that they would play. And I don't know, I just instantly I was thinking like, oh my God, if I started to like, you know, be Katie, then I'd definitely, you know, be clicking on the link to be like, what is this all about? I could be Katie. I could be Katie in their videos or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, anything to get that engagement.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. We recently did a video for a very sexy window and door company. When everybody buys a house, they don't go and say, oh, look at that window frame. Oh, see how this door opens? I mean, they just don't, right?
Right.
But this, let me show my screen. Just give you an idea. What we try to do is stop them becoming a window and door company and create a luxury brand out of what they do. 1 second. Just give you a little flavor of what we just recently put together for that very reason.
I like the library scenes.
Weren't they good? Perfect for this, weren't they?
Lifestyle feeling with it too.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm thinking that we could go with this is to create some video with really good footage, and from that, what we could do is build it out and with the different characters and so on. So pretty excited about that actually.
Like showing the two of you working together and coming up with this, and then parts of the illustrations and a backstory as to your journey along the way to get there, and you know, things like that. Yeah.
And then even just share my screen again because my brain's going all over the place with ideas right now. Because I'm really getting excited about this, as you can possibly tell. But like for Instagram, I mean, we just created a new palette for my Instagram for January. So we picked a particular font, we picked a particular color. So it's very much, there could be certain lines from the book. It could be like, this could be a Katie quote or a James quote, and then different great stock footage that we could get photographs of, so we're completely legal, and then have all 6 characters, get people voting for the characters. But as soon as we see the title of the book and we get that font and create a nuance around it, this is the kind of stuff that we would start to do, is just really create like a nuance that goes across social media and build it in. That's where I'm thinking. But it does, see, let me tell you a story. He says I'm doing his shirt. Can you, I don't know if you can see a line from here to here? Only just. Probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I have a titanium neck. My neck is rebuilt out of titanium. I look like the Terminator on an X-ray. I was in a very bad car accident in 2008. My daughter was in the car. We stopped for a bucket of chicken on the way home, and it just so happened that the girl at the window was a daughter of a friend of ours from church. My youngest daughter, Maddie, who was on the passenger side at the back, switched over to the driver's side to open the window, so we talked to Robin while we're getting the chicken. Not 3 minutes later, we were rear-ended a red light, cut all the airbags went off. I was knocked unconscious. My car was all right off. I so damaged my neck that the only repair eventually was to take my neck apart, take the discs out, and rebuild them in titanium, and rebuild my neck. After about a year of convalescence in 2009, I fell in love with something called social media. And for the last 10 years, I've been teaching social media out of a passion of being unable to physically network because of an injury, but learning a whole new skill of digital storytelling. And that all came from this one line. Now, can you see what I just did?
Yeah. Yep.
I told a story.
Yeah.
Don't you make me fall in love with you.
Okay, I won't.
Oh my God.
I see what you're trying to do.
Right. Okay. This is my mom. Her name is Sheila. My mom died over 10 years ago. And she said to me, you can do anything you put your mind to. I believe in you. You are my man and a half. And everything I've done in business has come from that mindset. And my mom looks at me every single day. And my dad, he looks at me too. He was a mayor.
So then Jonathan, being the sassy, outspoken person I am, if that's the way that you were raised, why would you even question whether or not we could get to the New York Times bestseller list?
Because I have to be a realist. And I have to, all I'm saying is I don't want to promise you the earth. And then you say, but you said, I mean, I just have to be real because it's a tall order. I'm not saying it's not doable. In fact, the more I get excited about this, the more I think it is doable. But we also know that that's not the only end game, right?
And
Totally.
we understand the enormity of it, but we are your mother. And we have no doubt, like we've been doing this for a year.
Yeah.
And we have no doubt. And so every person that we end up working with, it is a relationship just like this.
Okay.
If the person doesn't feel our excitement and doesn't have this excitement, we don't work with them.
No.
Because it won't work.
No.
And so that's how every step has gone with this. And it's all been so effortless.
Yes.
Not that we haven't worked at it, but
No.
effortless the way it comes. And we have no doubt. We have no doubt. And so what we want is we want a partner who also will believe in us. Now we understand the logistics of a company that if you say to us, yes, I will get you 10,000 pre-sales, and then you don't, that opens you up. We get that, okay?
That's all I was saying.
Right, and we understand that, but we want to work with people who believe in us and believe that it can be done and will help us do what needs to be done. That's why when you say we need a story, we need you guys, well, that's not anything that is 180 degrees different than what Kim and I have been thinking for promoting this book. But I will tell you that if you explain it to us so that we catch the vision, we will be 100% behind it and we will do it. You know, if we believe that it will do it and we feel it, you know,
Okay.
I'm already feeling it. So
look at this sexy book.
Okay.
Financial Planning for Global Living. I mean, hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
1 second.
Is that your book?
He's going to share his screen again.
Okay, so meet Jennifer and her husband Peter. They live in Bermuda. Oh, sorry, Jeff, not I know Jennifer and Peter too. Jennifer and Jeff. So we took over. She approached me about this book, and she had it semi-written. She didn't quite have the cover. We finished out off the cover. She didn't have the graphics. She didn't want to be. I mean, she's an Amazon bestseller. She doesn't deliberately have this here because I really don't care. But what she did have was a book launch in The Hague in Holland on March 2nd that she had to be ready for. So we built this website around Jennifer and Jeff because they live in Bermuda. She's an international planner. She only works with American expats who work for a corporation in Beijing, China, or Stockholm, Sweden. So they're in 2 domicilities for taxing. And that's what this book's all about. But what we were able to do is, and she just got Indie approved. She got a 4.2 out of 5, which is very, very high. She has some pretty weird pets. But you know, we did the book and we did all the illustrations within the book. We launched it. I did her social media around her book launch at the Hague. She only had 12 copies when she went to Holland, but we sold all 12, funny enough, but we got lots of pictures out of it. And that's the kind of stuff that we do. And that's, that's Jennifer. This is Donna. Donna's 60. She lives in Jupiter Beach, Florida. She spends most of her winter, well, she's snowboarding and skiing around Vail and Aspen and wherever else. All of her business gets done on the slopes. She's an IT trainer speaker for empowering women in the career. And this is Donna's website. Very much we built all of this, all built around mountains and hiking and her academy, and just almost like a double black diamond run, working with her. And by the time you get to the bottom, you're ready to go with her and work with her. And you've probably never seen a website look like this. But that's the kind of stuff we do. And then she has a podcast, a blog, incredible resources. And I know her really, really well. And we've probably met twice physically.
Yeah.
But that's what we do. We find out who somebody is. We tell the story. Jennifer's got a leopard, and she lives in Bermuda. I mean, hello.
That's random.
But that's what we have to do. We're just starting with this lady. It's a very, very small book. It's an easy read. I grew up, now what? It's all about
I like that.
so living the unicorn lifestyle. And her name is Valerie Kerr. She lives in New York. I mean, you could read this book in half an hour. But it's all about her and her sister just believed that they could do anything in their adventures as kids. And now in the legal world where she is, people get so bogged down in structure that they forget to imagine what life could be like. And she's just finishing her PhD in LA right now. And in May, she launches a whole new consulting career to the paralegal world about having an imagination and stopping getting so legal. So that's what we do. And we love it. And it's all about a story. Erin's got a story. I just told you a little bit of one of my stories. I lived in 3 different countries. Have you ever heard of the book Mutiny on the Bounty?
Mm-hmm.
What was it called?
Mutiny on the Bounty.
No.
It was a famous British naval story from the 1700s of mutiny. And the captain was Captain William Bligh, and the first officer was Fletcher Christian, who was a relative of mine. And he actually committed mutiny against the captain because what the captain was asking for was completely insane. And it's one of the most famous British naval films and stories. And Mel Gibson played him recently. I agreed with that one in the movie. But yeah, I mean, I'm a storyteller. I think it's in my genes. I come from a Viking land where Norse tradition of stories is just what life is about. And I know that stories convert, and I know that people gravitate to the person behind the story. They fall in love with them, and when they fall in love with them, they support them. And social media is just the best way of telling a story and building an audience. Email's critical because we want to get a message out to people, but if that's the only piece of the strategy, it's two-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a video in the email, it's two-dimensional. Whereas 3D, I mean, this is, for me, Christmas. This is the Harrods 2018 credit. His name is Oliver. We have 31. This is number 31. They started making these in 1987, the year Debbie and I got married. And I bought my wife a Harrods bear every Christmas since we got married. We have them all on display in our hallway. Erin has not been to our new house to see that, but that's, in my Harrods bag. Just arrived. That's what it's all about. These funny little things that make you different that we can find in the stories, and then people will love that.
So I just want to kind of quickly, because I know that you guys like the real detailed, like the vision. You're looking for that vision. So
Yeah.
Jonathan, what do you think? What platforms?
Yeah.
And we're looking at website. We're looking what are we looking at as a package here for them where you think that we would go?
Thank you for reining me in on my creative journey. Okay, let me walk you through the process. So we actually have this documented pretty well. We call it VIP Platinum Experience, and I know Erin alluded to this. And typically, like with Donna, I mean, people have been around a while. They've done a few iterations of who they are in business, and they're ready for something new. You guys are going straight for new, which is totally fine too. But the principle is the same: is that you're bigger than you are right now. You can see what the NY Times, sounds like. You can see the courses. You can see the sequels. It's up here. You can feel it. You can see it. Nobody else can. So we've got to raise the bar and show people what that looks like. And for us, it's a 5-step process in that we've got to position YouTube and the graphics and the characters, you know, in a mobile-friendly digital world. The branding that goes with the book, what the book cover looks like, the font, whether it's like old Viking runes or whatever that might look like on The Hobbit or whatever, people have to fall in love with what the book cover is going to look like. I mean, this is not a good cover of a book, actually. It's but it's also for ladies with pelvic pain, so it kind of lends itself to the healing colors. But anyway, but then the website needs to be like, holy crap, wow, like the dynamic video, like that's not windows and doors. I mean, that's a lifestyle. So we have to do that, and then it needs to be so unique that you totally stand out. So for us, it's all about no more website shame. I mean, you don't have a website, so you probably are ashamed, but you know, because if I go to wherever it even is, that's what you have right now. TheMindVentures.com, I mean, we don't have anything. So we gotta get that going, and then create the strategy so that even if you don't like social media, we want you to fall in love with the idea and the notion of it. We'll take care of it. We'll write it. We'll do it. We'll interview you. We'll create. We'll publish. So don't feel that that's something you need to learn. We can do that for you. And then we just make this world-class experience. So from that, you two are going to be like humble superstars in the author world. You know, we can make a big noise in a very sort of celebratory, humble way, because it's the gifts that the characters have that are going to make the difference in the world because of what they've learned through their journey. So you're not saying this book is about me, give me $1 million. It's like, this book is about you and what difference you could make to maybe go make $1 million. Mm-hmm. So the messaging would be quite reverse what most people are looking for. So stage one is, go figure, love your story. Just saying. So that's what I do. I meet with people, I go deep. This lady I spent a week with in Mexico, got us, her grandfather was a Japanese farmer in Northern California who was interned at the beginning of the Second World War because he was Japanese in America, therefore he was a prisoner of war. They lost the ranch, they lost the farm. Her dad was actually born in captivity in a POW camp in the United States. She never even thought that was part of her story. It's like, are you kidding me? When they tried to repatriate the farmland, they only went back one generation. And because the grandfather had long died, they didn't get any compensation. But anyway, different story. And then we build out the history. So we might go back to the timelines of the story and where these gifts come from and create a lot of mystique around the sort of timelines of the book. And then the brand comes with that of what the book looks like. I think you've probably got, the publisher's probably done all of your branding, but how we create banners for book selling and how we, business cards that you can give out, the template of the email, everything needs to be in that template. We just did a Chamber of Commerce. I mean, this was an old logo. They'd had it for over 100 years. And, you know, we kind of changed it a little bit. But now they won Chamber of Commerce of the Year in Canada. And now they look like it for the branding that we did with them. And then this is what I think you need, is what we call a white glove project manager. So you've seen how Erin works. She's been with me since September. We've been friends for about 4 years almost. She's watched me from afar from her non-social media world. She's just a social stalker, aren't you, Erin?
Yeah.
Everything is done through a program called Basecamp. So we set timelines, we set allocation of who does what. You're part of that. You can see what we're working on each week. We send you product or graphics, you know, for approval. We send you a timeline of what's going to be posted when. The video creation that we do is all documented in the dashboard so you can follow through. And then when we get to the website, it has to be mobile friendly. It has to be Snapchat, Instagram friendly, but also that wow factor when whatever size monitor people are looking at it. Music that would go with that. We'd need to find some royalty-free music that we'd have to buy that goes with that. And then the stories, you know, that's Lindsay, so our head of web design, and Susan, who we were bringing on part of our team as well. She's a 26-year vet of public relations, and she worked with BP when they had the Gulf spill. She's worked with many different, she was, I wouldn't say spin doctor, but I will, spin doctor to the Premier of Nova Scotia, and 26 years of experience. She's one of our team. So between the storytelling, the web design, and the PR is where we come together as a team. The video I just showed you, different graphics that we do, and then loving the website. I want you to be so proud Go to Mindset Ventures. Just go to it. Go, tell me what you think. And you want people to fall in love. So this is Donna. I didn't say this, she did. The design has a perfect blend of functionality and personality. I never thought I'd say this about creating a website, but it was a really fun and enjoyable experience. So we up-level websites, and then we have lots of testimonials that we need to get about you too, because there really aren't that many around, but we want great testimonials from you people. And then after that, this is Lindsay and me as a team, and then this is what we do. So we build a custom website, we beautifully tell your story, we create everything ready to go for the ClickFunnels. We make sure you get found online for SEO, content that engages, excites, and entertains. We do all the social media with the banners, the bios, the branding, all the pieces that you've got to go with that. Any events, any book signing, any pre-signing. And I know, Kim, we talked about Social Media Bootcamp way back in March, and recently we run that in January. So we'd love you to be part of our bootcamp, but we'd be firing on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter for sure. We'd up your LinkedIn profiles to focus on the authorship piece. We'd be all over Pinterest with graphics and images to get interest into that. YouTube, obviously, and then feeding the Google search engine. So all of those 8 platforms are part of our strategy. And then with that comes that course. We have a blogging course as well. And we would definitely want to get articles on your website. And Lindsay teaches this. She has a degree in journalism, which is where she comes from. And that's my wife and I, Debbie. Told you we've been married 31 years. She still likes me. Got a bit of right somewhere along the line. And then this is us. So Lindsay, my SEO guy, my PR girl, and Erin, who you know, and then the team that we have who work literally in the office underneath me here.
A fantastic team, by the way. I know I've said that again, but as dealing with and hiring social media and social media management for the companies that I've also worked with. The best team I've ever worked with I get to work with you, but yeah, if I hired you guys, I'd be more than happy. So
we're full. We're not really taking anybody on until February, but I have a feeling we could definitely start very quickly. I work with eWomen Network. I mean, that's a massive network. Have you ever been to anything like of theirs, Kim? But Debbie and I are on their faculty to teach the not-for-profit social media, and we do a lot of work with them. But also work with plumbers and builders and lawyers and dentists and all sorts of kind of people, and that's what we do, and that's the process. Does that sound like what you're looking at?
So how do you measure whether or not your campaign is effective? How do you determine the result?
Well, there are 2 kind of metrics. There are what they call vanity metrics, which is like how many likes, how many comments, how many shares on a Facebook page or an Instagram, and they're key because that's engaging with people's personality. But the real measurement is in website hits, where those website hits come from, how long people stay on the website, and we have all of this through Google Analytics, so that they arrive on the homepage. How long do they spend there? Do they go to page 2, page 3? Do they fill in a form? And then the number of email conversions. And even if people say, I have 25,000 people on my email list, great. What's your open rate?
Right.
So you only get about 1,800 people actually opening the email. What's your click-through rate? About 1%. So really you get about 200 people actually go to your website through your email. Yeah, okay. So they're the metrics that we have to measure ourselves against. And we do that all the time. And we produce a report every month that gets very left brain around those vanity metrics, and Google and email. I don't know how Drip works, but I'm sure it's very cohesive in the back end of how many people, where people are landing from. We'll have to experiment with what times of the day the emails go out, what kind of email structure, whether we tag different, audiences. We might sort of say, are you 15 to 25, 25 to 45, 45 to 60? And we might even split the audience up. So we're writing at different levels of perception or understanding about what the book's about, rather than just one blanket audience. And then we can target different messages to different kinds of people, as well as affiliates. So bringing in the Bob Proctors and the all the other people that you might know that could well be promoting us and giving them swipe copy and getting them to get it out to their list, because that's where the 10,000 is going to come from, is other people's lists. Because I don't think we'll build a list that big in that short a time that will buy it solely. But with support from a lot of other people, that's where it'll come from.
Okay. So tell me, what in this package, what don't you do? Like there was a lot there. Like yes. What are you not doing?
Okay. So what I'm not doing is originating the content. We need that from you too, and we spend a lot of time talking to you and getting that. And we do everything by Zoom. We record it, we transcribe it. So you don't have to even write that hard. We just need to find time to talk.
Okay.
So because it has to be you. I mean, I can't be you yet. I mean, we will over time find your voice to a degree. So we have to get that. What we don't do, we don't do the ClickFunnels piece, because you've already pieced that together. That sounds like that should work really well. So we'll interface that into the website. Lead generation on ClickFunnels is not my expertise. I understand it deeply. It's not something that turns me on. I'm a storyteller, and I build audiences. But I get the lead gen piece, and we can definitely put that into it. And the other piece is, well, one thing I always say to people is, you will never say to me, you didn't ask for that. That's one thing I will say. We try and cover every eventuality off, and we've got checklists for everything. And so, like, I had a client recently, and the website was quite pretty until it was on a cell phone. And I went, this website's not mobile friendly. And he went, oh. So he called his designer, and the designer said, oh, he didn't ask for that. Come on, it's 2018, So we will always, I never want someone to say, for me to reply back saying, oh, I didn't know you wanted that. So we try and cover everything off. And then the last thing is I only make one promise, and that is I will do my very best. I can't guarantee you best. I can't guarantee 10,000 sales, but what I can guarantee is myself and my team will give you the biggest creative, fun project journey that you've ever had, and we will love it to the nth degree. But that's the only promise I can make.
Okay.
And Jonathan, I noticed, so just that sticker price on that one page, but you also have another level up from that. And what was I just want to kind of understand too, because I do know that you'll go to specific clients, you will travel to them, especially when they really want to deep dive into the strategy. So I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, we haven't agreed a price at all. I mean, I'm just giving you a full spectrum of what we do. I know initially we thought about just the social media intake and then writing for you. I think very quickly I've seen that this has become potentially a lot more than just doing some social media, because you need a movement. You need a tribal gathering around this book, and that's going to take a lot of time and effort on somebody's part. And I'm not sure there's anybody building that website piece right now other than the ClickFunnels, which typically not that sexy, and they can come over a little salesy. And
they are very salesy. That's what they are.
Yeah, and we do, and that's fine. But if all you're trying to do is sell me into buying the book, it's the empowerment. It's a message behind the book that's going to sell it.
Right.
The book sales themselves. I mean, everything comes after the book is published, really, in terms of the products and the sequels and the consulting and the speaking and the empowering and the changing of the world comes after the book's published. But we got to build an audience to believe in the book, like you did when you came out of the Matrix. You came out of there knowing in your heart that you could do anything, and that's what my mum, her name is Sheila. I remember her saying that to me when I was 16 years old, going to do my O-levels, and I was about to throw up in the car because I was so nervous. True story. And I passed the exam with flying colors because my mum believed in me. So, yeah. So price-wise, we haven't talked price. I mean, yes, I regularly visit with clients, and Debbie and I love to travel. Funny enough, we spoke in Vancouver last week, which is very rare because a prophet isn't always, heard in his own hometown. But anyway, I got to speak in Vancouver, which is a lot of fun, but it was a national convention. And prior to that, we were in Florida, then San Diego, then Orlando. So Colorado would be a beautiful place to visit at any time of the year, I believe, anyway. But I'm happy to come and spend a few days and brainstorm these stories. Equally so, Zoom is just like, an in-person meeting for me these days too, and it's very efficient and time efficient too. So
Well, and that's how we did the book. So I don't, and Kim and I aren't even in the same state. So I don't think that's not a necessity to us, you know. So
I mean, it can help. I mean, just getting somebody's vibe. I mean, I get a lot of energy from this.
Yeah,
but
it'd probably be, I could see us like meeting up somewhere, you know, if we were going to be someplace close to where you're speaking or something like that. That would probably be.
I mean, and there's lots of conventions like VidCon and Comic-Con and Social Media Marketing World and Unbounce and all these big national gatherings. I mean, there may even be a case for having a booth at some kind of VidCon type place that once we've got a following and people are waiting. I worked with a lady, she was originally called the Nerdy Bartender, fantastic fun girl, and now she has her own tribe. She has actually a channel on a program called Twitch, which is like an interactive video channel, and Stacy is having a blast. She left the job, she's full-time career now she has a Doctor Who TARDIS in her living room and this bar, and she comes out of the TARDIS and makes all the cocktails. I mean, it's hilarious.
Twitch is that network you get paid. People pay you to like be on. It's like YouTube, but people pay. They just donate money constantly when you're on there. If they like you, you're getting all these donations constantly.
Pantheon's a similar one to that for bloggers and so on. But yeah, we're not going to be asking for money. We want to get book sales. We may want to do Google AdWords. We probably will definitely want to do Facebook and Instagram ads towards the launch time to really make sure we get it in front of, so we can create a lookalike audience of people who like, let's just say, Harry Potter. I mean, we can literally advertise to people in the United States aged between 18 and 25 on Snapchat or Facebook or Instagram with a lead capture page that just, it's enough of a video to get them to click, which is where you pay the click, cost per click, and then they go to the lead capture click funnel, and then we get them into the sequence.
I think that is one thing that I've struggled with because everyone always asks, well, who's your audience? Well, our audience is
many, right?
Huge. You know, I mean, I don't want to just limit my audience to youth. And as it is truly, I see it as a Harry Potter type audience, anywhere from kids all the way to adults, you know, so.
Yeah, my wife's parents have never read any of the Harry Potter books. When it first came out in England, it was almost a little frowned upon because it was anti-religion and anti-church. So some people just shunned, certain Christian schools wouldn't have the book on the library because of that. So they never picked it up. Our kids read all of the books, even though they went to a Christian school, they just didn't tell anybody. And then when the movies came out, just before Deathly Hallows 2, my in-laws were here, and we did a Harry Potter marathon for 7 days.
Ooh. Getting
them up to speed so that by the time they went to Deathly Hallows 2, which was the first one they actually saw at the movies, they were devotees, and they're in their 70s, you know? Yeah.
So here's a story. I have not read nor seen one single Harry Potter anything.
You're a muggle.
She is.
Yeah.
She's probably a squib. That's why.
Oh, that's hilarious. And you know, and that's fine too, because what I love about that, because even when I read Harry Potter, I see certain pieces of J.R.R. Tolkien right in the book, you know, and it's just like,
you know,
that's interesting. But there's always, but if you haven't read it, then nobody could ever say that you took ideas from it because you never read it.
That was the interesting thing. When we first started writing this book, I really had issues because I was like, well, we can't write that because that's in that book and that's in that book. And then it was like, everything's been written about, so we just have to write it. And in our situation, it's different, you know?
Yes.
So. Okay, I have a burning question.
Yeah.
In terms of how built out do you guys have this if it was to be marketed towards the education system first? And then what if your 10,000 sales came from that? And, you know, like your orders or just like, do those book sales, I mean, like I said, it's a tall order and we're wanting to focus on your social, but you know, if like, is that component built out enough where you could market that to the school system?
we have talked with a lot of teachers, and they want this book. I've had teachers tell me how they would teach this book in their class, you
Right.
know.
Because if you
So
had
that's
like
definitely an option.
250 copies, or I don't know, 150 copies per school, I mean, it's a lot of schools, but I just didn't know what that looks like in terms of is it an online, you know, course or program, whatever. But if it's a book, like it's just the one book, then that's fine. I just didn't know if it was an option to market it towards.
That's not many schools buying 200.
No, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. So I mean, if we started there and really marketed it to the, because then that's building that out at the same time. So by the time you've sold those many copies, you've already got that accolade for the book when it hits, you know, I mean.
Yeah, that could be perfect for pre-sales,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
getting schools to order, you know.
If they believe in you enough and know you enough and
Right.
believe in the
That's why
stories already.
Yeah.
That's why we gotta create the story around you guys first, because it has to be an education piece in terms of, you know, even your story, Kim, where you've come from, and then, you know, and then I don't know, I feel like that might be a
Well,
strategy.
Kim has talked to a school system about this, private one, I believe, and I mean, that's definitely an option. So.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And it is the story that they get interested in, you know, when you talk, kind of when you shared that experience. So.
Yeah. Well, I come from a similar background, and I just know that I ended up getting, you know, I joined a board, or I was asked to join a board for a very large nonprofit in the Tri-Cities, which, and it was particularly because of my story, from coming from, you know, extreme poverty and to, you know, director of operations of 4 different companies, that kind of thing. So it's kind of nice when you can build on something like that, and I don't know, people will
Don't
identify.
you have a baby born on Christmas Day?
And I do, and he's here visiting right now, walking around without his shirt on right now, mind you. I'm like, don't come in front of the camera, so I'm up against the wall here, like, no camera. But yeah, he's a 21-year-old baby on Christmas Day, so he's going to China on the 30th. So he'll be there for like his aim is to be there for a year. So I'm gonna have to go to China in the spring, I think. But yeah, he's just about to leave pretty soon here, pretty quick. So yeah.
Wow. My eldest just flew to London last night, so we said goodbye to her again. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Roots and wings, we call it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So how are we doing?
Yeah.
Are we on the right planet or?
Yeah. So after this conversation, what do we do? Like, you know, do you present us something in writing, like a proposal, or how do you work?
I typically don't. I mean, I confirm everything in writing once we agree with people. But really, what I'm trying to do is just not selling myself. I never need to do that. But I just want to make sure that we believe in each other enough that we could work together. And I already believed that after the last meeting when I got the vibe from you guys last Wednesday. And then Erin's very, very ably filled me in and all the other pieces when I rewatched the video. So I think we could do it. I know we can do it. I have a feeling that we would get on together really, really well. And then in terms of the process, I mean, we would document that out. And you would expectation levels of how many posts per week and what we would create and how we would do it and what the timelines look like as it stands, because obviously as we get closer to the date, things will change. So my commitment would be to you is that, you know, from January 1 or December, whatever day it is today, 8/17, obviously we'd sign NDAs. I mean, I've signed so many of those in the past, it's kind of scary. Used to that, it's a normal for us, and then go forward. So the typical package is like a 7-page document that I send you. It itemizes all of that out. We have lots of legalese that goes into that, just sort of protecting you and us from everything out there. And then it's just agreeing a scope of work and a budget. We haven't talked numbers really. Yeah, okay. That's where it would be.
So as this continues to grow, because it will, being that this won't be the only book, and there will be other products, and as this expands, how does your marketing expand? What adjustments take place to accommodate the growth?
Yeah, I mean, I've had this digital agency since late 2009, and some of my clients have been with me since 2011. 2010 was my building year. It was a picture on my website. It's an old gentleman in a suit. He's a carpenter. His name is Ralph Austin. And when I started working with him, he had 10 guys, one crew, and they just timber framed pretty big buildings in Vancouver. He's pioneered something called mass timber, which is where they use wood instead of steel. And then in Canada now, you can build up to a 6-story building completely out of wood. And he's patented this. It's got a structure system. They have just quoted, again, this is off the record, but they've just quoted the new Google headquarters in the Bay Area, which will be made out of mass timber. They've done it for Mountain Equipment Co-op. They've done it for UBC, the University of British Columbia, Brock Commons. So I've grown as he's grown, and I was at their Christmas party on Friday night. They have a team of over 60 now. They have 4 US teams. They're just in a venture capital buyout with another company for multiple tens of millions, which I'm in the middle of negotiating the branding as part of that buyout, because he's going from 100% to 25%. Anyway, I didn't do the deal, but I'm helping him. So anyway, suffice to say that as he's grown, we've grown with him. And whatever trade show he's at, I mean, he's an international star in the wood world now of mass timber. He's like the world's leading expert. And it all came from my marketing around, well, no, came from his skill, but our storytelling and our marketing of what Ralph has done. So we evolved with you. We become partners in many, many ways. And we get to believe in you so much that whenever I have an idea at 3 o'clock on a Friday night, because I just wake up and, I'm writing it down and messaging you the next month. Like, what do you think about? And it's a huge, juicy collaboration of creativity.
Well, and chances are I'd be awake.
Oh gosh, we have Slacking. We put it on Do Not Disturb between certain hours, otherwise we would never stop. Right?
Yep, I'm guilty of it too. I'm always like, yeah, I don't know. Especially when you have an idea, Jonathan, and it's like really hard because then I'm all amped up about it too in the evening.
Actually, my cell phone does not go to bed with me. It stays in my office, but I have a notepad and pencil on my nightstand. But I have a non-digital bedroom.
Non-digital bedroom, very nice.
Wow.
Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I am interested in moving forward and getting more formalized with this. Obviously, I'd like to talk with Kim, and then I do have a mentor who I work with, and I always like to run this stuff by with him too.
Me too.
He's very close with Bob Proctor, and just kind of, we work together and have a good relationship. And I don't foresee any problems or anything, but it's just something that I like to do when we embark on big things like this. But yeah, I say let's move towards making this more formal, getting to where we can make it a formal, and Kim and I can chat, and we can. I feel good about this. I feel like it would be fun working with you, and I feel like you definitely get it, and you have a system down. I like that. Everyone else we've talked about, it's just been like, well, we'll do 20 posts a month for, no, it's social media is so much more than that.
Oh my God, it's a whole living entity in many, many different ways.
Yeah. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts in a summary.
Yeah. Just as a background I didn't do our company presentation, but we're registered in British Columbia, but we operate all over the world. We're a faith-based company. We have over millions of dollars in sales. We are a debt-free company, and extremely ethical, as Erin will tell you, with the way we do business.
I very much
We probably
appreciate
turn down more clients than we say yes. Well, we do. We definitely turn down more than yeses because they have to be a right fit for us. We have to believe in who they are, and we have to know that we can help them because I sure as heck will never make a false promise. So.
Well, one of the things that I pointed out to Paul, because we look back and we connect the dots, and we've come to the point now where we can look forward and connect the dots.
Right.
And it occurred to me when, Jonathan, when you reached out to me and touched base with me again here recently, that was not coincidental.
I was looking at that this morning thinking, my goodness, it was March and then it was November, right? And then suddenly you went, we have this book in June. I said, oh my word, yes. You can thank Erin for that because I was overwhelmed with opportunities and I knew I had to hire someone in an EA capacity, executive assistant, to help me manage the leads because we're pretty out there in terms of popularity right now. And I just went through all of the people that had registered with me that I just felt a connection to. And even though we hadn't met, I just felt that. And Erin had this list to follow through for what was a Black Friday or something. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Erin.
Yeah. Make sure nobody falls through the cracks. I'm like, take a look at this. Yeah.
We're a team.
Yeah. Good. That's good. Good.
We don't like falling through cracks. No.
No, definitely not. No, all car crashes, but if there's a story out of it, we'll make a story out of it. I'll let you two talk, and you know how to find us, and then I can send you, the draft agreements if you like, so you can read through them. I'm not a paperwork kind of guy. I'm a very much I used to call myself a hug and a handshake kind of guy. But what we say is what we do, and but we do cover it all off in writing, and the systems that the team have in place now, because this is our project ball right now. I mean, I'm still a Post-it note kind of guy. But everything is in Basecamp too, and Slack, and everything gets covered. But for me, I don't want to look at the computer. I just want to look at my wall, and I just imagine all of these projects going on because I see the names in the Post-it notes because I wrote them, and that's just how it's done. So.
Great.
Will you show me that wall again, please? So where would our Post-it note go?
So you would be right here under what we call, it says current clients WMSH, and then underneath this is all the potential people. So the people that are here right now are people that, these are all people that I'm working with, and then the 5 underneath are the people that we're in conversations with that haven't said yes yet. But and I don't want them to say yet because we can only handle one big one a month. We only do one a month. So as Erin knows, because she could find me more leads than I've got time to manage. So we're farming rather than hunting. But you would be the one that is closest to my arm are my VIPs. And then the different courses that we do go down the room.
Right. Cool.
Got it.
Well, I would say go ahead and start putting, what you do put on paper together so that we can see numbers attached to stuff. And then Kim and I we can just reach out through email and say, let's move forward. And then we can review that stuff. And then we'll have to, pull our pants up or do whatever we do at that point. Yeah.
There's our Post-it note.
Be prepared to work. Well, I mean, you're already working, but yeah, it's
Yes.
Wait, and I'll be one of the whip crackers too, where I'm like, okay, this is what we're needing, and onboarding.
This package is a little bit because we're not going to have a very deep website because the book is the website.
Right. But it's simple.
Yeah. So, but what it is, it's time. It's time rather than content.
Yeah.
So our commitment would be to get out of the gate in January, at the beginning of January, assign you a specific writer for that. And I'm pretty sure I know who that's going to be. And from that point onwards, then we just build momentum. We have these very early talks. Erin will be part of that in a big way. And then once we get those stories, we start documenting it, photographs, you guys meeting, context, scenes, build it through early additions of the cover, all the different, stories that come out of Amazon and stuff as you're getting the ISBN number and all these different pieces. We just build up. So So the quote that I would give you is like from now until June, you know, till launch sort of thing,
Okay.
as an all-inclusive price plus the cost of ads, whatever that might be. So
Mhm.
you know what, and we wouldn't expect it all up front. It would be staged payments and that kind of thing, and then from that we take it as a yes or a no or not yet or whatever, and go from there.
Mhm. Okay, sounds good to me.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. Gosh, hour and 15. There we go.
Thank you. We went over a little bit.
Sorry, yes, I just realized I never look at the clock. But yes, I got it now.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Guys,
Awesome.
Bye.
wonderful to see you, Museum. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to
so
see you.
much.
Appreciate it.
Bye, Paul. Bye, Kim.
Bye.
Bye-bye.